make sure to go ahead and head on to 91.1. All right, is that going to wrap it up for us? We calling it quits?
They said you wrapping it up before I spill the tea. What's up, Reese? Let me do my shout outs.
Lord, we're going to be here for 30.
Special shout out and thank you to the sponsor of today's video, Likey. Now they sent us this thingy-mabobber for Genesis. It's like a multifunctional toy that helps infants and toddlers develop motor skills, but it really keeps her occupied. Kind of reminds me of like a baby Rubik's Cube in a way that is very challenging and never really seems finished. You know what I mean? But the more she plays with it, the more familiar she becomes. Now she's teething, so right now her favorite thing to do with it is just chewing on it excessively. But it has fidgets, rattles, popping bubbles, sliding ball functions, all kind of different textures, and the ends of each rope varies from keys to rings. I mean, you name it, it's on there. Now, because she's always chewing on it, we had to make sure, we did our due diligence and it was safe. And to our pleasant surprise, it's actually made with food-grade silicone, not rubber. So fellow parents, we can rest assured. It really kept her occupied on our flight to Dallas last weekend. And so if you travel with a child, this might be a great look for you. It's also inexpensive. Right now, it's on sale in the Amazon store for $16.99. But if you use the code LIKEY333, you can receive an additional 20% off until July the 13th. Purchase yours today.
All right, y'all. So I told y'all me and Javon we're going to do like a little podcast style talk. We're also on Instagram Live, so we might be getting some live feedback from the girls.
Yeah.
While we're doing this.
Hopefully some fellas too. It's always the girls.
Trying to
it's always about the girls.
The girls. It's been the girls. Always will be the girls. No, I'm playing. But we just want to come in here because y'all know it's just a lot going on. I feel like in these spaces it's easy to just talk and just vent and just, get it off your chest.
I feel like, too, it's something about a mic.
It's something about a mic and some headphones that just make you...
Just make you want to, spit, right?
You know what I mean?
So I'm trying to get Maya to...
Oops.
Excuse me.
So gross.
Right, I'm sorry. I'm actually trying to produce, and I didn't convince Maya. We about 75% there as far as just, her actually agreeing. Would y'all want to see, some music from Maya or, hear some...
No, I'm going to be on the narrations of it all,
Okay. Skits and stuff.
All right. I'll do, a little voiceover type thing.
Okay, first we was about to be doing...
No, I'll do a little melody.
Listen.
Y'all got a melody.
So I was playing her some stuff I'm working on for my album in the car. What was this, the other day? And you was doing little cadences and helping me write something.
I've been about the cadences. I've been writing,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I know, seriously, in high school, me and my friends, we really used to think we was rappers. A rapper.
Okay.
Not a singer. I was a rapper.
No, but you can do the sings, though. The melodies, the Jill Scotty vibes.
No, because once you qualify yourself as a singer, now people watching notes. I don't have time for that.
I'm a artiste. You just
I'm an artiste.
You know what I'm saying? So we're working on it, y'all. But what's going on, man? I can't see. My eyes are not that good, and y'all kind of far away.
You should watch it on your phone so you can see their comments.
So yeah, that's a good idea.
But so honestly, y'all, we have no topic in mind. We're just gonna get on here and just vent because it's been a lot. I feel like the tension.
Not between us, though.
I know it's just in the house in general. We have beef with Genesis. Period.
A little bit. Listen. I was having a conversation literally with my dude the other day, and I'm like, no, this was yesterday, and I'm like, man, like babies are like mad selfish, bro, and inconsiderate.
Oh my god!
Not on purpose, right? Because they don't know no better. Like they're just babies. But they're so like they don't care if you need sleep. They don't care if you ate. Like I know you hungry, Genesis, but do you care if we ate today? Like she just don't care. It's just all about her all the time. Don't care about. See,
it's so hard.
I'm traumatized. So anytime I hear something, I just assume that like
it's her crying.
It's her like screaming.
It's hard because I feel like we had like a good like 3 months, and then it just went downhill. I don't know what triggered. I think it's just her growing. Where it feels like the newborn stage again, but she's just now she's crawling, she's active, all that type of stuff. But
so she started crawling this week. Mm-hmm. Claps, because I mean that's a good thing.
Oh yeah,
she started crawling this week, and so she's very like explorative. Like she wants to, very, and right now the
normal for a baby, of course.
Yeah, I mean the whole house looks completely different to her.
Right.
So she wants to see all these new areas and stuff, but she has this thing she does now where like when she's upset. She shrieks, but it's like this high pitched scream.
Oh yeah, now she's just screaming.
Like some X-Men stuff, like a superpower, like, and it just like I just can't stand it. Like it really just digs under my skin. It's so
crazy though. I remember like when I was pregnant, like you really could never judge something until you've gone through it. I was just thinking about parenthood, and I was like, man, I'm gonna just pray through every problem. It's gonna be easy. Like, if she's stressing me out, I'm gonna just go pray and everything. Right. I really remember having that conversation with myself. And this week, especially, I really have been taking like all of my heart, all of my frustration, everything to God. And I'll also have conversations, and I'm like, God, I feel like ain't nothing changed. Like I'm over here, I'm bringing this to you. You told me to do this. You told me in your word. Yeah. And I'm still feeling these emotions, and I'm still feeling this. And something that puts things into perspective for me. Mm-hmm. We were watching The Chosen, right? Mm-hmm. And sometimes God will force you to go and quote unquote like walk on water, like Peter did. Mm. But you have to keep your eyes on Him and walk with Him for you to stay afloat. And I feel like when my eyes start to sway into my anxiety, into my disappointment, into my fear, into all of this stuff, when my eyes sway away from God, that's when I start to drown. Mm. And it's all about keeping my eyes steady on God throughout this whole thing. And what does that look like for me? That means taking every anxiety. God says, cast all of your cares, all of your anxieties, everything. God wants to hear every intricate thought. So that's kind of what I've been on the past few days, and it's helped. And I've really just been on Psalms. I was on Proverbs last month, just learning about wisdom. But Psalms is just the peace and promise of God. Because
you like worship. Like, that's your thing. Like, you love worship music. Mm-hmm. And I think, and Psalms is just that without the instrumentals behind it. It's a lot of, it's just that. You know what I'm saying? It's pouring your heart out, and it's great. And same for me. I realized, too, like, what gets me through is like my thing is mind, body, soul, right? Like I want to be learning something every day. Mm-hmm. I want to be taking care of my body. Yeah. And and I need to be feeding my spirit.
You have to feed your spirit.
You know what I mean? And whether that's listening to like some Dr. Miles Monroe tapes, or in my word, and praying, just communion with God. You know what I'm saying? And when I'm not doing that, like I can feel it, you know what I'm saying? And then things just get really, really heavy. So I was vlogging today, and I actually that's why I was like, doing this, I didn't want to really go to that place again, because I already vlogged, and it was probably my most like vulnerable one, because you weren't here, and it was just me and Genesis, you know what I'm saying? So it was my most vulnerable one and stuff, and and I caught myself like, all right, let me dial it back a little bit, because not about to get clowned on social media, but I feel like it needs to be more like support.
Vulnerability is important.
Well, I think it needs to just be more like support groups for like dads too. Like I understand like women go through so much, and me firsthand experience like, because our dynamic is different. We both are full-time content creators, and we will work from home, and so I think a lot of dads kind of get like they almost get like a hall pass, because it's like they go to work for 8 hours a day or whatever, and I don't think that men realize how much women go through just raising a baby.
It's a full-time job. And then imagine having a full-time job on top of that full-time job.
Yeah.
And we both have experienced that. Like, we be trying to work, trying to film, trying to edit.
Yeah.
Stopping every 2 minutes because, you know, like, our child needs us. And then also, like, there's the mom guilt for me that, you know, I need to be investing more in my child. But then there's also the guilt that I need to be investing more in my career. And there's just, like, this imbalance that seems so hard to manage at times. And it's like, God, how? Like, literally, how do I do this? And sometimes you just wake up and you're like, it's another day.
Yeah.
Here we go. Like,
for real, though. For real.
Here we go. Like, it's another day.
I mean, you know, and I don't want to really, I'm still like, I had a moment, you know, a couple of days ago, and Maya really helped me through that because she's so supportive, like, as a wife. Like, I think that also, too, another thing for men, and I'm just speaking from my experience, right? I know we're talking to the girls, but, you know.
There's some dudes on here.
Yeah, as a man, like, I feel like it's so important to be able to have that safe space to be able to be vulnerable at home. Like, if I can't be vulnerable with my wife,
right,
then who can I actually open up to? And
I
feel like,
men cry.
And I feel like a lot of times, like, you know, if you don't, right, it only comes out in two different ways. You're gonna explode or you're gonna implode.
Okay.
And I think that, like, you know, I just read an article the other day, and his dad, or, you know, this dude got sentenced to 180 years in prison.
Oh my God.
Because, you know, he killed his child, and I'm not, like, that's horrible, you know what I'm saying? And that's somebody who doesn't know how to deal with their emotions. And I think he looked like he punched his kid in the stomach or something, you know what I'm saying? And so, you know, and then so he got sentenced to 100 years, but that's what I'm saying, though, like, that's somebody who exploded. Then you have the imploders who they gonna go to something. There's gonna be some sort of release. It's either gonna be alcohol, it's gonna be drugs,
some type of vice,
bar, lust, porn,
right?
Something, you know what I'm saying? But they're gonna deteriorate and rot from the inside out.
And that's the thing, because, like, before I gave my life to Christ, it was so easy to find an outlet. It was so easy to find something that would temporarily subside what you're going through.
Right.
And I think the hardest thing now is, one, dying of your flesh every single day, because you still have those desires. Like, they don't just go away. Now it's about combating them with the word and with the spirit.
Yeah.
And I think now it's about, I think the beautiful thing about being on a walk with Christ is you have to literally come to terms with emotions, with feelings, with trauma. There's no way to mask it. You have to bring it to the surface and allow God to do that deep root work instead of just masking it, going out partying, going out drinking, smoking, doing all of that type of stuff. That's easy. It's a quick fix, but there's no longevity attached to it. So I think in this season, God is showing me that I have to come to terms with all of these emotions and all of these things that I'm facing, and that there is no quick fix anymore, that life has passed away. Because
it was never really a fix, right?
It was never a fix.
You know what I'm saying? It was just like a temporary, like, numbness. It was a temporary, he's forcing us to feel everything now. What happened?
No, I'm saying that's good, forcing you to feel.
Yeah, you know, and I realized too, like, I was thinking today, you know, we are spirit beings, right? But we are wrapped in flesh. And I feel like this world, like, we're not of this world. I mean, it says that in the Bible, right? We're not of this world. So everything about life is opposing the person that you truly are. Like, it's opposition at every angle, whether it's in the house, whether it's whatever. It's always going to be stress and trauma and things going on. And I think
adversity. There will always be adversity.
Yeah, challenges, obstacles. You're going to go through stuff. And I think that the beauty, though, about knowing that we have a God is that he's in it with you. Now, some stuff he can't, like, he's not going to take away that thing. Like, he needs you to feel. Right.
There's some things God will deliver you from, and there's some things he'll walk through it with you.
Yeah,
but you can't forget he's walking through it with you.
And there's tests too. Are you still faithful to me? Like, I got you the big house.
Yeah.
Now, are you still faithful, and do you still love me with the stresses of having that house? Ooh. You know what I'm saying? There's some people, right, who praying for a car because they don't have a car and they walk into work. I was one of them. Mm-hmm. And, you know, and then he'll get blessed, right? Like, God will put it on somebody from their church's heart to just give them a car, right, or something. And they have that car now, and it's like, man, so you praise God for the miracle, that he gave you, right?
Right.
But I think we have to understand, like, we have to be faithful to the source of the miracle, not the miracle itself.
Ooh.
The miracle is temporary. You get the car, you happy about the car till you got a flat tire, or you need an oil change or something, and now the miracle doesn't feel like a miracle anymore. It feels like a liability.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? We wanted a baby. It's people who praying for children.
Right.
That's the miracle.
Wow.
But now, once you got the miracle, boom, now about day 2, it don't even take 2 days, but I'm telling you about, 5 hours later, you like, okay, wow, this is a lot. You know what I'm saying? This is a huge responsibility. And so with any miracle that you're praying for, just understand, on the other side of that is going to be some sort of responsibility, some sort of challenge in that.
Right.
So you stay faithful to the source of the miracle, not the miracle itself.
Wow. That's Fendi fat. No, seriously, but like, yeah, we need to be also like okay with things not always being perfect. Like, you think you get the house, you get the family, you get all this stuff, and everything's supposed to fall into place. And like you said, there's always something attached to that next level. Because in that, right, it now leaves the opportunity for God to be glorified by working another miracle, right? There's no miracle of sight if you can see already. So the person that's blind, right, and now he can see, you know what I'm saying, and he gets his sight back, or he finds out he doesn't have cancer. That's the glory. That's showing that, okay, God is real. You know what I'm saying? God is actually doing something for me right now. He actually made this thing happen. And so you need we just need challenges. We need things like that to happen so that we can be grateful for the things on the other side of it. That's the beauty, is that it's temporary. You know what I'm saying? You do you do get through it. You know what I mean? And I think that's something that always gives me comfort. I don't know who said it. It might have been in a song or something, but like, if it's not good, it's not done. If it's not good, it's not done, because God is good and he makes all things work for our good. So if it's not good, it's not done.
Right.
You have to allow God room to still work and not close the chapter and close your faith and close your heart to the opportunity of God working this out. Because if it's not good, it's not done. Right. So if I feel like my situation is not good, no, it's not done yet. Right.
Absolutely. I had to stay focused, just being stressed out about Genesis, and just her. She's so moody, y'all. Like, oh my gosh. She is a diva, like, already. You know what I'm saying? And we got another one.
She really is.
Another one. Like, we got another one. We got another baby on the way. You know what I'm saying?
And that's the thing. It's like, you think, like, okay, like, I made it through this stage, and God's like, okay, I'm about to apply a little bit more pressure. And it's like, God, I am fighting for my life right now. And
I was praying. I felt very defeated, a couple of days ago, where I just felt like, like, for me, I'm an early riser. I like to. I'm at my best when I'm up early in the morning, worked out by 9. Before 9, I'm already home, and I can chill for a little bit before, like, I'm starting my day. But like, I'm more creative. I'm more motivated. Yeah. I'm more inspired. I have more energy. And so since we got back from Hawaii, I've been like, and I think even probably before we went to Hawaii, but really, like, you go on vacation, it throws your whole routine off. And so we got back from Hawaii, and I felt like I just was tired all day. You know what I'm saying? All day. But that's because I'm staying up till 2, 3. Genesis wakes up every 45 minutes. You know what I'm saying? So I'm up and down the steps all day. That's a workout. And so literally, up and down the steps all night. And then sleep until 9, 10, 11. Like, I like my mornings because it's quiet and it's like, it's still dark, and I feel like it's like the most intimate time I have with God. So by the time I'm waking up and it's 10, 11 o'clock, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I got this. I might have still got my 7 hours of sleep or whatever, but it just don't hit the same.
Also, like, something God's been talking to me about, he's like, I hear a whole lot of complaining and not you asking me to change your perspective. I don't have to change your situation, but I can change your perspective.
Yo, that's crazy. I was literally, okay, he's speaking to us both, because I was, praying today and, just thinking, and that's what he told me. He was like, going back to the whole analogy about the miracle and the miracles are temporary, right? Mm-hmm. So it's the peace. It's What happened?
Somebody said he's holding on to that wine like Genesis is beating him up.
For real though. For
she
real.
She be beating me up, y'all.
Listen, and but I was just thinking, and I'm like, yo, like, yeah, I done lost my train of
Can
thought.
we get the fan coming? Like, production, please cue the fan, girl. Like,
I can't wait till Genesis can walk and like actually be able to like do that kind of stuff for us, like make her an assistant. For real. Hold on.
This is all I know, because you know what? One thing that always gets me together, I wake up in the morning and I put Eric Thomas on, because Eric Thomas gonna tell you about yourself. No, not today. He gonna tell you about yourself, because it's like, yeah, like everybody go through something, bruh. What? Everybody's going through something. Everybody, and it's okay. You have to be aware of those emotions. You have to be aware of how you're feeling. But, bruh, you gotta boss up.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta boss, like what? Stay in this mindset and this mentality of being depressed and angry. What is that serving? You can choose. You can literally choose joy. There are homeless people praising and worshiping. They chose joy that day.
Right.
Like, seriously.
Right.
Like, bruh, life sucks sometimes. Okay?
Right.
Life has sucked before, but life has also been great. It's ebbs and flows of life.
Right.
It's just a different struggle. Like, at some point, the pity party's got to end.
Right.
And, like, my pity party's coming to an end. Like, there's this one song that says, I will not submit to suffering. I'm not going to submit to this feeling of suffering, submit to this feeling of depression, submit to this feeling of anxiety. You can't have me. I know who I am in Christ. You gotta tap into the spirit. When you're looking at things in the natural, it's when I'm looking at things in the natural, I start to look and I get overwhelmed and I'm like, this road ahead of me is so long. But when I tap into the spirit, I'm like, oh, I can do all things through Christ.
I think too, though, I mean, I think it's important to God has to put us through, all of us, right? He has to put us through difficult times and challenges and stuff. But what he is trying to train us to do is to be peaceful through the storm.
Right.
We got to be able to sleep through the storm. We got to be able to kick back and smile through it. And
not only be peaceful, but have authority over it. Have authority over your thoughts. Have authority over your feelings. Like, feelings come and go, but you can also control your thought life, which means you can control your feelings. If a feeling comes and you're like, that doesn't align with what God said about me. Let me change my thoughts so I can change my feelings.
Right.
Like, yeah, it takes work. Yeah, it takes you sitting and being self-aware. But the fruit of that is now a positive perspective on your situation that may not be deemed positive in the natural. But
in that positive perspective and that joy, that me being able to go through some stuff and I'm still worshiping, I'm still happy, I'm still smiling and stuff. That's also when people see the Holy Spirit on you, though.
Yes.
If everything is just good all the time and everything was just easy and all that stuff, that's unrelatable, bro. That's not authentic.
Right.
That's not genuine. No one can relate to that, right? But when you go through some stuff that somebody else is going through, and but the way you handle it is just so poised and so under control and so faithful, like, I'm good, you know what I'm saying? Everything gonna be straight, I'm good. That's when you can turn somebody else's life around, because at the end of the day, it's all to advance God's kingdom. It's all to, we're supposed to imitate Christ. Like, we're supposed to be a way where someone looks at you and they're like, man, the way that she handles life, and no matter, even though she went through this and she had this and da-da-da-da, but the way that she bounces back from every single scenario and every obstacle that happens to her, it doesn't. That has to be God. So whatever she serves and whatever she's doing, that's what I want.
I've had Muslims. I've had people who are atheists comment on my stuff and say, I'm not even a religious person, but your faith inspires me.
Right.
I'm not out here walking saying I'm doing everything perfect, but the fruit of my life, the fruit of my spirit shows that I love God.
Right, absolutely.
And that shows up in my life time and time again.
Absolutely.
That's the real influence. We want to talk about being influencers.
Right.
Influence people to the kingdom. Influence somebody to save their soul. Why you I get on TikTok, I'll be like, I'm just tired. Ben. Y'all be influenced to what?
Right. Yeah.
To death.
Yeah.
That road leads to, like, influence somebody to change their life, bro.
Yeah.
Influence somebody to have hope again.
But like a child, like at church, what pastors say, a child, they listen into what you say, but they really are more influenced by what you do, not what you say. I can tell you, be clean. I could tell baby, tell Genesis, you need to clean up after yourself, da da da. But if I leave the house a mess and I don't clean up after myself,
right?
You know what I'm saying? I'm a hypocrite. She looking at me like you don't even do that.
Right.
So how you know what I'm saying? So how you gonna tell me not to do that?
Right.
And that was a big reason why I even stopped certain things like smoking. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, I can tell her I don't want her to do that. But if she's seeing me do it. You know what I'm saying? At some point, she's going to be either two things, or she's just going to be so repulsed by it. You know what I'm saying? Which kind of how I was. But, but that's a big thing, though. They go by what you do and not what you say. And so I feel like, people are also looking at that. Because on social media, everybody's got something to say. Everybody is an expert at something. You know what I'm saying? What's the fruit of what it is that they're saying, though? Yeah. I'll be looking for that. I honestly I like the people that's super quiet. I don't really have a lot to say, but when they do got something to say, it's impactful.
It's impactful.
And I'm looking at their life, and I'm like, yo,
too much talking. I hate that.
Yeah, I love how he is as a father. You know what I'm saying, and how he is with his wife. You got people giving relationship advice that's not in relationships though.
You know what I mean?
That don't
or
make
in
no
a
sense.
Toxic relationship.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. So it's just like again, I think we gotta be what we gotta do first. You know what I'm saying? Do it.
Be about it.
Just do
you'll
it.
definitely
Nike.
Influence people to want to live that life because people can sense when you're being genuine and when you faking it. And anything that you gotta put on a front for,
right?
You now have to put on the front for the rest of your life, and that's not sustainable because it was a front. It was a gimmick.
That's tough.
You got in the game because it was a gimmick.
And now it's stressful. Now it's not fun no more.
People doing pranks. You got, you know what I mean? Like no shade, no tea.
Nah,
it's like
can't.
you gotta uphold that. And then when you try to change your lane, people don't respect it because they're like, you came in the game doing this,
right?
And now you're trying to switch it up and do this,
right?
We don't know you for that.
Sidebars. So the pranks thing, I don't understand at what point is it like assault and you like actually committed a crime? Like how can you like do things and then just be like,
these pranks be taking me out. Yeah.
I seen some dude pouring gasoline on people's cars while they was in it, and then when one dude actually got out the car and with a gun to do something to protect himself, dude was like, "It's a prank, bro. It's a prank. Like relax."
How is it a prank?
How is that a prank? And why are you not in jail? I don't get it. I don't understand. If I go around and I'm slapping people's grandmas, and then when somebody actually square up with me, I'm talking about it's a prank. Like no, bro, that's assault. That's assault. Like I don't understand it.
I'm calling the police.
Yeah, I don't get it. But that was.
I'm good to call the police. I'm not fighting nobody. I said that. I've never been in a fight. I'm not fighting nobody. What do I look like fighting somebody when my phone is right there? I'm not fighting nobody.
Yeah, I mean,
unless it's for Genesis, like I'm not fighting nobody.
The only time what we watched the other day,
like,
and the little kid beat up the other little kid. Like I'll fight somebody's dad if they like messing with Genesis at school.
But I'm not just like I'm in Walmart and somebody hit my shoulder. That's somebody who need therapy. Right. Y'all are emotionally unstable. We want to talk about emotional wellness.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like if somebody accidentally bumping into you results in you wanting to harm me physically,
right,
there's a problem.
Right.
And it needs to be sorted out. BetterHelp.com.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm just not fighting nobody. Never have, never will.
What we do? We logged off or something? I can't see every question.
There's no. What do you mean question?
Oh, like are people? They just that's where it stopped. I thought it was way more comments.
No, it is, but they're gone now. Cause I had exited out.
Oh, okay. Well, your phone got it. So I mean, any other questions?
I'm absolutely not fighting either. Let me say it gave very much assault. Yeah, it gave assault.
Who got kids? Put hearts on the thing. Anybody with kids, with children?
Please. But the good thing is Genesis is starting school in August.
Yeah.
And it'll give us like a break before that.
I mean, like what, for 2 months before we got another baby?
Of course.
In the house. Like it's
of course.
It's tough.
Bruh, but it's like you gotta also like
No, I'm
you know
I'm
what I
playing.
mean? Like your perspective of parenthood has to be, because I saw this one TikTok and it changed my mind. It was something like, there's always endless laundry, and then the flip side of it was my kids have clean clothes to wear.
Have mad clothes, right?
And then the one was like my baby's always crying, and then the flip side was my baby feels comfortable expressing emotion with me. Like when you change your perspective like that.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, like today, I got up early. I went to the gym. just did my thing, and I felt way better. I mean, even Genesis, she still cried probably just as much, if not. Nah, she probably cried just as much today as she normally does.
Right.
But it didn't really affect me as much as it did like 2 days ago. The other day I thought I was about to have a brain aneurysm. Like I was going crazy.
Why do you think though? What was different?
Well, I think one, my morning started off a lot smoother. I got up, went to the gym where I stretched, do the sauna, worked out, came home. And then also just like the way I just thought about it. I don't know. I just felt better.
It's like you got to take note of those things. Like if waking up early is what you need to be mentally, physically, spiritually okay, you got to go to bed earlier because you got to get up at 6.
Right.
Like that's just like solution based. Like sometimes we're so problem based. You gotta be solution based sometimes.
Right.
Like I know that I need to work out 2 to 3 times a week. I can't make it in the morning because you're going, but I'll go at night. It's like there's always a solution. Some people don't want a solution.
Well, look, so kind of like what you was talking about with like perspective, right? Like Genesis really loves her dad. Like she really loved her dad. So if I walk into a room, whatever she was doing, she just stops, whatever that is, and she starts whining and stuff because she wants me to pick her up and say hi and acknowledge her. And so at night, I do all the feedings at night, and so throughout the night, I'm going up and down the steps and stuff, and when I get to Genesis's room, she'll be whining, but if her eyes are still closed, you just put the binky back in her mouth, tiptoe out the room. You know what I'm saying? And like, you straight. If I go in there and her eyes is wide open, I know it's a wrap. Like this is about to be a long night. Like
now, Genesis wake up and she sits up in her crib, and now she's trying to crawl out her crib.
Yeah. Like she can sit up now and stuff. So she be up just looking at me. So the other night, right, I'm in the room, and I'm like, I lay her down, and this stop too. I gotta.
You're done.
And so I'm like in a rocking chair, and the rocking chair is like across from her crib. Okay. So I'm thinking she's asleep, and I'm in there, and I'm frustrated because I'm like, bro, like I want to sleep in my bed, and like right now I'm just sitting in this rocking chair. I'm not comfortable. Like, this is super whack, but if I leave, she gonna see, because now she can see now through the crib, little bars and stuff. She gonna see me, and then she gonna go off, you know what I'm saying? So let me just sit here and wait until she falls asleep, or until I know that she like in a deep sleep. Yo, I hear a little something. Man, I look at the crib thinking she laying down. This girl is standing up, just staring at me. Like, I don't know how long she had been staring at me. Yeah, it was funny. But also, it's like, bro. And then if I try to leave the room, she start crying, change her diaper, change the temperature in the room, feed her, all this stuff. It's not that she wants anything. She just wants me. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, bro, but I have
at 3 a.m.
Yeah. Just because you got your solid little, because she go to bed at 6. So just because you got your solid little 9, I mean, it is mad hours of sleep if you think about it.
No, that's what I think. I'm like, you've been asleep for 14 hours.
Yeah, like
I wake up mad,
like that's crazy, too. Right? So so it's like, but I didn't though. You know what I'm saying? So like, why don't you want me to sleep? And you try to tell her be nice, and she start crying even louder and stuff. But at the end of the day, though, I did have to change my perspective on that. Genesis just really loves her dad. That's a blessing. Right. That's a beautiful thing. You know what I'm saying? I hope that we're able to have that relationship for the rest of our life. You know what I'm saying? Where rest of my life, because she definitely has to outlive me for sure. And being able to walk her to prom and like all of that. I really want us to have a close relationship. And my biggest fear is her, like, this is the thing that also restrains me from like just getting mad and just like yelling at her or anything, is her going to therapy at 20 plus years old, whatever age she end up, decides she want to go get some therapy. And she's bringing up like stories of things that I did that like I didn't even realize was a big deal.
When I was 9 months old.
Yeah, exactly. Like my dad didn't. He never laid with me, and
You'll never. Nobody is a perfect parent. Like you'll never be a perfect parent. Now there is definitely things not to do as a parent. Like you don't intentionally harm your child.
Right.
But you're never going to always get it right. And that's something I accepted very early on when everybody was like, oh, natural this, do this, make sure you do this, make sure you're breastfeeding, make sure you have to make all the food, make sure. There was a lot of pressure on us, but especially at the mother, because the mother is naturally the nurturer, and they're like, you have to make sure you're doing all this. And I'm like, the baby may eat Cheerios off the floor today, and that's okay.
Right.
I'm not going to stress myself to death.
Right.
Of course, I'm going to put my best foot forward every day, but I'm not going to make the cut every day.
Right.
And I'm going to live with it.
Right.
And I'm going to sleep fine.
Right.
But that pressure, and it's like, did I ask? And I'll sit there and I'll listen, and I'll shake my head yes. But if it doesn't align with what my family needs at the time, like in one ear, out the other, and keep it pushing. Mm-hmm. Everybody's going to have an opinion on what you're doing, especially when you become a first-time parent, because everybody thinks they're an expert parent. If you're not asking for my advice as a parent, I'm not going to give it to you, because I know how that feels.
Mm-hmm.
I know how that feels. And especially, it's like parents, like y'all were parents 30, 40 years ago.
Right.
And you're trying to come in. You know what I mean? So it's just, For me, I just learned that very early on, that people are going to have an opinion and respect that person 100%. But you don't have to internalize that as you are not adding up, because that is something I have internalized. Being a young mom, being married young, there's a lot of pressure on that to make everything work, because if you don't, then you lived up to the stigma. See, I told you it wasn't going to work. You know what I mean? So it's like I had to realize, like, I'm not going to be perfect, and that's perfectly fine, because the person telling you all this stuff is not perfect themselves.
Right.
Nobody is.
That's a lot. That's that in itself is a whole topic. You know, I shout out to Kesey. He's a young Instagram influencer in the word. Just a dope young dude, man. But you know, something that's been bothering me a lot was, like, I'm seeing like a lot of quote unquote, you know, pastors or people within the church that create pages that are solely based on bashing another person in the church, right? So I seen
that's like your biggest, like,
it just irks me. It's my biggest pet peeve, because to me it's just so like counterproductive. It's just so counterproductive and ineffective. Like, and you know, what I really can't stand is a super arrogant religious, you know, Christian that feel like, oh yeah, don't nobody like me because I'm in the word too much. Like, no, bro, you just don't have good people skills. Like, no, seriously though, it's like super. I
don't like to talk to you.
Just very practical stuff. Like, you need to, like, just take a break from the Bible. And you need to go read How to Win Friends and stuff. Like, you need to just, like, kind of diversify your readings and stuff, because there's some very practical things that God needs you to learn, right? So that you can be a better influencer for the kingdom. Get me wrong,
you see what I'm saying? I'm kind of like in between on this, because, you know, we've seen a lot of churches go up on social media and go up and rumble just for like certain teachings and ways of teachings, and I'm definitely on the fence with certain churches. I'm not going to name off who, because I'm not that type of person. But I will say there's definitely a line to be drawn, and there's definitely grace to be drawn as well. But what I do, I don't like when people take 30-second clips and then make whole assumptions about it. I had to go back and watch that message, the whole thing. And there were valid points, and there were also points I wanted to have shown.
What message are you talking about? The Easter?
Like that. Okay, I wanted to have done it in that way. Right. So it's like, when do we ride the fence of we're trying to show the world that Christianity can be cool while also still staying in line with what God said, and not being so much like the world that it's like, is this a church or a club?
Right.
Am I in the club?
Right. I mean, to me, I think context is just really important. So before I, like, go on a tangent, like, when I seen everybody in the uproar about the service, I hadn't seen it. So I'm like, I'm not going to get emotional about something that I don't even know what the context is. And a lot of times, like, especially with social media, we just sensationalize clickbait headlines, right? I seen another one. Chandler from Maverick City wants to make worldly music now, or something like that. And I'm like, what is it? What? So then I went and looked at what.
No, it got me, because I was definitely like, there was a time where I was definitely in my judgmental spirit, and then I just looked at myself in the mirror. I'm like, girl, you ain't no better.
Oh, well, yeah, I remember, because I told Maya, I'm like,
Yvonne checked me. He was
I'm like, listen, Chandler done got you through many a mornings.
Chandler done got
and had you in tears and worshiping and really, like, so, you know, don't let with some opinion from somebody that you don't even know affect the reality. The facts are, though, you don't know that person's opinion, but the facts are that you've enjoyed their music and it has definitely helped your walk.
And they're anointed, period.
And they are anointed, and God is using them. And then if they do slip up, though, you pray for them. Though, this is what I'm saying, right? This is my point.
Or go to them in private.
When it comes to, because I kind of touched on this, but I feel like I really didn't drive it home, right?
Okay.
As a body of Christ, we are a family.
Okay.
Okay. There is a such thing, especially in the black community. No, not even black community, because I'm watching Succession right now, and this is also like family business. We don't put our family's business on blast to humiliate them, right? You keep it within the family.
Yeah.
I would never go online and bash Maya.
Right.
Because I don't agree with something she said to me last night.
Right.
Or something that she did, whatever. Like I would never go online and then put her on blast to humiliate her and then create a mob of people that now are attacking her. That would be a bad family member. I would be a bad husband. You know what I'm saying? And so when it comes to the body of Christ and how we treat one another, we have to also treat and deal with each other like we are family. Don't go online and humiliate that person because you don't like the sermon that they taught yesterday or whatever. Right. You know what I'm saying? That's that. If you really have an issue with that, you take that up with them.
Private, and then you also go to God and ask God to touch their heart. Ask God to give you this sermon, and then you mind your business.
Yeah, I mean, it's
because you have issues, you need to go pray about.
It's perspective, like, and then also too, stop assuming you know what God is doing, right?
But I do understand because these people do have big platforms, and that's the tricky part because it's like, what are you influencing the body of Christ to do? And that's where I think people get upset and emotional
and
offended by, because these are such big platforms that these people have, but that's also none of their business. But also, you have to realize God will always have the last word. So if this is a quote unquote false prophet, like God's going to make that come to pass.
Vengeance isn't ours, right? Yeah. Like it's the Lord. So if they are doing something that's being disrespectful to the church or to God, God has that though. Let God handle that. You pray for it and you let God handle that and you let your spirit. And if that's not for you, then you just leave. You just leave. But you don't need to go and create a whole try to go viral moment.
It's the try to go viral for me though, because that's what it comes down to.
This is what really got me, right? So I'm not even gonna say the name, but this particular pastor was bashing Maverick City for the fact that Chandler wants to make music outside of just worship music. He said, I want to talk about relationships. Now this is my thing, right? As an artist and also as a songwriter, I understand what he's saying, right? Now if you just want to go with the quick little clickbait thing, okay, well, he wants to leave worship music and he wants to make world music, and now you immediately go to trap music and 21 Savage and Drake and stuff. Not realizing that, you've grown up on, Whitney Houston, Stevie Wonders, Marvin Gaye's,
that weren't
Jennifer Lopez. Yeah, there's so many other genres of music that's not gospel music.
You said Jennifer Lopez.
Whatever, she don't. What does she talk about besides?
Jennifer Lopez is not a singer. Jennifer Lopez is an actress.
Okay, Whitney Houston, whatever. Right. The point is, there's other types of music that you've grown up with that doesn't necessarily instill negative feelings and behavior out of you, though. You know what I'm saying? Christmas time, shake a hand now. This Christmas, right? That's a song that every black household listens to on Christmas. You know what I'm saying? On Christmas time, that's not a gospel song, though. You know what I'm saying? So if there's other types of genres of music and stuff that he wants to explore as an artist.
Now J-Lo sings.
Like, she's still on J-Lo. We're not even talking about.
Because everybody, J-Lo sing, J-Lo sing.
That, you know what I'm saying, he has a wife, right? So if he wants to talk about relationships for married couples and makes us make romantic music for married couples and their wives and stuff, to me, there's a whole niche for that. You know what I'm saying? I would love to hear
romantic music.
I would love to hear some music instead of that way. You ain't gotta immediately go to Party Next Door and stuff. If we can, you know what I'm saying, still have some wine and have a romantic date night to some Chandler. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it's necessary though. You know what I'm saying?
I draw the line somewhere.
Like, that's what I'm saying. So what I'm saying is though, like, stop being easily offended and jumping on 10.
Focus on your convictions. Girl, you a mess. I'm a mess. We a mess. You looking at they mess. Look at your mess. It's all messy. But you so blinded by your mess, you just want to look at their mess. Girl, look at your mess. And just sit in it for a second. When you start focusing on your convictions and focusing on getting better, you don't got time to go comment on people's stuff. Because you focused on your mess. I'm focused on my mess. That's why I don't care about people's mess.
Right. Let me see the comments. Let's see them.
I never understood the concept of trolling. Like, for me, that sounds insane. To make a fake page with a fake username and a fake profile to troll somebody, that's when you have to seek help. It never made sense to me.
Let's see. You know, you guys are as Christians, you should call out and hold accountable one another. Right. But, okay, bless Jess. I understand that. In private, though, are you going to that person directly, or are you going to your followers and then talking about that person? You know what I'm saying? And then how does that help them find their walk? If you're not even talking to them, they don't even see your comment. They just see what you talking to other people. That's called gossip. That's also in the Bible as well. So
yeah,
gossip is real. You know what I'm saying? Like we out here handpicking which ones we want to be offended by and stuff.
You grew up in an old school Baptist church. How was that dynamic with just like the elders and?
I mean, really, my mom is the perfect person to ask about this because, like, you know, my grandma is a pastor, and so, you know, when my mom was pregnant with me, like my mom was very, very. She was judged. She was condemned. They made her feel really bad about it. All kind of stuff.
Yes, she's still one of the most faithful women I know.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. But if you don't, listen, you kick somebody out your house, where they gonna go? So if you sitting up and you condemning people, right, when they make a mistake, and you kick them out, where they gonna go? If ain't nowhere else to go but over here in the world, where they over here and they don't judge me,
and the world gonna take me in,
and they don't, they gonna, and then and the enemy loves
drink this, it'll make you feel better. Take this, it'll make you feel better.
And you don't know how somebody's going to use that person. Let's look at Sarah Jakes. You know what I'm saying? That's like one of our favorite people. But if you would have went back 10, 15 years ago, right? She said that she dealt with a lot of judgment and a lot of stuff because of decisions that she made early in her life. Look at who she is now, how anointed she is right now. Take Saul, Paul of the Bible, right? Who wrote all of a good majority of the New Testament that y'all are quoting. You know what I'm saying? 4 things. And look at what his life was prior to his encounter with Jesus. It was way worse. You know what I'm saying? And so the point is, you also don't know what God's plan is for that person and his strategy.
And if God has also anointed you to be a leader of a church, you also have to take on the responsibility of not only helping the saved, but helping the broken, helping the hopeless, helping the sinful people.
And I'm not letting like leaders of churches off the hook. Because if you are, you know, you mess up and you doing a lot of dirt.
There's definitely
you need to step down. Yeah,
take accountability.
It's time to retire, my boy, and go sit down with everybody else, with the pedestrians,
while also still praying for them and having the hope that they can get better and they can heal
in a different way. Yeah, you don't need to be. Yeah,
you don't need to be leading.
You could be a missionary or something, but you need to be in line. You don't need to be put up on a pedestal. You know.
And that's the thing. There was a certain pastor that you automatically had.
I gotta change the battery. Go ahead.
You automatically had discernment with this pastor, and you know he in all the headlines, running them up, just doing stuff.
Cool. Oh yeah.
So you automatically had discernment with him, and he's yet all these headlines coming out over and over, and it's still reoccurring certain things, and he's still leading a mega church. Right. It's like, dude, you're being selfish now. Right, you don't care about these people. You care about personal gain. And that's when the line is drawn. Like, okay, there's a new documentary of Hillsong or Hill Who or In the Hills with Hilly Bill. I'm about to watch that because I heard of some tea. Now, I told you I don't like to mind people's business. But in times, you got to mind something. Let me say, staying in our own lane. Yes, girl. It's a 6-lane highway. You trying to be in all 6. Stay in 1. Somebody said I'm a newly. Ooh, Lord. Okay. So I'm a newly found Christian, and I've been very confused on things like homosexuality. Not trying to cause any controversy, but what are y'all views on that? My views are God's views. Right. I can, in my heart, want something to be a certain way. That's with anything. I could want it to be a certain way, but I have to have the trust in knowing that if I trust God for one thing, I have to trust him for another thing and trust that he says a certain thing for a reason. Even if I don't understand it, right? We talk about faith. I may not understand why God's telling me to go and speak to this person, or God's telling me to move here, God's telling me to do this, but I do it with the knowing that he has a bigger plan.
Right.
So I can't now contradict that when hard topics come up.
Right.
And now I'm like, let me switch up. I have to have that same faith that if God said it's for a reason.
Right.
I may not agree with it.
Right.
I may not agree with it, but I have to trust it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. And then also, why? Like, what is our views on homosexuality? Like, what does that do for you?
I think she was just trying to gain understanding. Sometimes people are just lost.
Right, okay.
I just read the word.
Yeah.
Don't go to me, go to him.
Right. Right.
Don't stop at me. Keep on running up the hill.
Read some more.
Until you find him. Oh, somebody said that. He said, ooh, that's the answer right there. Yeah, all in all.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I think this was great. This was great.
How long have we been on this?
I don't know. I can't see. But tell me one thing you've gained from this conversation. What are you going to walk away knowing?
I mean, I did a lot of talking, so...
What's something that you've been confirmed? Like, you heard yourself say it out loud and it gave you peace? I'll go first.
Yeah.
I'll go first. I think one thing that I learned was trust and faith is not always easy. It's not always pretty, and it's not always fast. Like, there are some seasons where it could be years of struggling with a certain thing.
Man, what? Do you realize, like,
it can be years.
Moses was like 80.
You know what I mean?
Or something. Like, he was like 40 when he started his, like...
But one thing that has given me reassurance, over and over, I've had these promises spoken over me. I'm going to get there. I'm going to get there.
You want to tell them about the encounter we had on the airplane?
I don't even, because that's a promise that is between me and God.
Mm.
But I'm going to get there. How I get there, I have no idea. I have no idea. Just like this moment. If you would have told me this 5 years ago, I would have no idea. But it's the little things, the step by step, the ripples. Those days after days that turn into years. I'm going to get to my promise. Mm. So having faith within that, walking in faith day after day after day, and keeping my eyes set on God and not allowing my eyes to waver, is going to get me to my promised land. And I'm going to get there. Mm-hmm. So I got to crawl.
Right.
Elbow. I'm going to get there. We're going to get there. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be beautiful.
Yeah, for sure. I think for me, it's, I think just embracing just everything that comes with, with parenthood and life in general. I think it's just understanding that stuff is going to be hard.
Yeah.
Like you said, you know what I'm saying?
It's going to be.
And that we have the choice to kind of just choose how we deal with stress and pressure and things like that.
Yeah, your perspective.
And also understanding that everything that we go through, God is using that. He's sharpening you. Like, on the other side of that, scars, Band-Aids, everything you have, now you have a story to share with somebody else, a testimony, really, that all, magnifies and glorifies him at the end of the day, And so and also, I was listening to Miles Monroe, he was talking about this. Be careful what you ask for, too. When you say, God, use me, be careful. You know what I'm saying when you're saying that. You know what I'm saying, because that can come with a lot of things. I mean, if you look at just the history of everybody that God uses, it's not easy. That's not an easy path. You know what I'm saying? And so make sure that your faith
ready.
is there and you building yourself up for that. But yeah, I mean, that's it. Ultimately, you know, love you, boo.
Welcome to the Graves House.
Love my daughter. You know what I'm saying? Love our daughter. Love our...
Welcome to
Hey, we find out the gender, y'all. What y'all think we having? Boy or girl? Boy or girl? And what do y'all think we should have? Not that it's gonna do anything, but I personally feel like we need just like some balance to the crib. So I wouldn't mind having like my little boy. Plus also, you know, just for
Everybody saying boy.
the last name. You know what I mean?
Girl.
Like we just kind of need to preserve the Graves.
All right, it's bedtime here in the Graves House. We're going to wrap this up on 91.9. Thank you for tuning in to the Graves House show. Make sure to leave a rating and review. We will be back on live at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. We will be back.
She's sleepy, y'all. All right, y'all. That's it for the Graves House podcast. Q&A, IG live vibe. I'm looking at both cameras right now. This one though. And we gonna catch y'all
I could really pull out my radio voice now.
on the next episode.
Say something about us, you listen. But fuck what they talking about on your timeline. That's cutting all into my time. Fuck what they talking about on your timeline.